Good morning. I'm just about 1 minute late this morning, but I think it's officially now the autumnal equinox. So go balance an egg on its end. Anyway, happy Mabon or whatever your tradition uh, labels this date. Yesterday, I opened up a can of worms by mentioning about not kicking a pentagram in its crotch, or words to that effect. And before we finish off the Frater Akkad essay on I.N.R.I and the Rose Cross and everything, let me do a little pentagram crotch talk here just for a second. First of all, there is a flawlessly designed pentagram there, and you see that on the points of the pentagram, right up at the top is spirit, and then starting at the lower right and moving counterclockwise, we've got fire, water, air, and earth. Now, fire and air are both active elements, okay? And water and earth are passive elements. Why am I bringing that up? Because when I said when you're drawing, invoking, or banishing pentagrams, elemental pentagrams of fire, water, air, and earth, you start drawing your pentagram in such a way as you want to move toward the element that you're invoking. So to invoke air, okay, you would go this way and then finish off your pentagram. And I said, if you're confused, because there's several ways to, go toward and away, if you're confused, just remember not to violate the pentagram's crotch. Okay? And then that way the directions that you draw toward or away the various elemental pentagrams make sense. But I didn't mean there's never a time for you to violate the pentagram's crotch. And the revelation of why that's so came to me when early on in my career, when I would lay down on the floor, spread eagle like this, and make myself a pentagram, turn myself into a pentagram. And then in my meditation, I would say, well, I'm going to run energy from, my, in this particular case, be my right foot, and move it up to there and do this. And in other words, I would draw invoking pentagrams and banishing pentagrams on my own body. Okay, and then I would visualize, at first visualize, and then feel it happen, the energy coursing through my bodies in that direction. And I did that as an exercise to turn myself into a pentagram. So once I got used to actually drawing that current through my own body, then when I draw a pentagram in the air, it's really loaded, because it's me. Okay, I'm drawing me. I'm doing this. Okay, I digress. And then I said, well, why don't, there's other pentagrams. There's pentagrams of spirit. And you draw these pentagrams of spirit prior in a greater or a supreme ritual of the pentagram, and you want to invoke, let's say, air. You don't just draw an invoking air pentagram. No, first you draw an invoking pentagram of spirit, and because it's air, of spirit active. And in order to draw that pentagram, you start down here, and then you violate the crotch. That's a passive, that's an active direction. So when you're getting ready to invoke an active element in a supreme ritual, you first draw an invoking pentagram of spirit active. Then, and it has its own set of divine names and things, and then you draw the specific pentagram. So in this case, it'd be air. But even if you're going to draw, if you're invoking water, you'd still draw an invoking pentagram of spirit passive, or air, or fire, spirit active. And in doing so, you violate the crotch. Now, it made sense to me when I was drawing that energy through my body in my preliminary meditations on the pentagram ritual, as the electrical force, if you want to call it that, move from when I was drawing invoking spirit pentagram, as it moved from my foot through my crotch up to the opposite arm, the current as it hit my crotch made the top of my head feel like it was going to pop off. In other words, there seems to be a direct alpha and omega kind of thing going on between the psychic centers, the lowest psychic centers, or the Muladhara chakra, and the Ajna chakra, or even the thousand-petal lotus. So that's why. Don't get me wrong, there are times when you gladly violate the pentagram's crotch, but it better be in a situation where you're prepared to then specifically take control over either the active or the passive element that you're working with. Does that make sense? It's so simple. A child. Anyway, I'm a little late this morning because I was drawing an oracle for the equinox. It's sort of a practice that's done every equinox, and I do the I Ching. Anyway, that's my little digression on the pentagram and its crotch. Now let's finish up the little essay, I.N.R.I. by Frater Akkad. And we've gotten all the way through, and now we're discussing the barbs, the kind of triple barbs at each corner there. And if you'll see, it says I-N-R-I. And then you also see a L and a V and an X. And then you also see a I and an A and an O. And then right there, you see a little cross. Okay, where were we? But what of the barbed rose leaves, which in the microcosmic rose were single, that's the little cross in the middle, and are here shown as triple in each quarter? What of the letters and symbols thereon? Here indeed is a formula whereby the LVX may be drawn from the cross, and the key word found, and the word should be subtly extracted therefrom. And in the margin it says I.N.R.I. Without this knowledge, how canst thou give true signs of thy grade? Let's therefore analyze the word as did our ancient brethren. Now, in the analysis of the word, you turn your body into various forms. The sign of Osiris slain, the sign of the morning of Isis, the sign of Apophis and Typhon, the sign of Osiris risen. Those are the LVX signs. And the little analysis of the words sort of walks you through that, makes sense of it. First, Roman, I.N.R.I. Then Hebrew, Yud, Nun, Resh, Yud. And then Egyptian, Virgo, Isis, Mighty Mother, Scorpio, Apophis, Destroyer, Sol, Osiris, slain and risen, Isis, Apophis, Osiris. E-A-O. Make now the signs whereby the LVX, which is the light of the cross, shines forth. And then those are the signs of 5 equals 6. Sign of Osiris slain, sign of the morning of Isis, the sign of Apophis and Typhon, the signs of Osiris risen. L, V, X, Lux, the light of the cross. Morning of Isis looks like an L. Apophis and Typhon looks like a V. Osiris risen looks like an X. Make now the signs whereby the LVX, which is the light of the cross, shines forth. And thou hast the meaning of the rose leaves of thy mystic jewel, leaves that are evergreen as life itself. And now, O my son, go thou and partake of the mystic Eucharist, even as thou hast been taught by those who know. Fortify thyself, for thou hast yet a perilous journey before thee. Thou hast been led into the light. Bethink thee that there is yet another rose and cross, the rose of 9 and 40 petals. That's 7 layers of 7 petals on a plain Greek cross. Which is 7 by 7 upon a cross of 5 squares. I should just shut up and read this. The mysteries of these thou wilt some day know, but not now. For these partake of the nature of the great darkness of NOx. The darkness which is as the light, which is higher than eyesight. The pure darkness of understanding, or of the womb of the Lady Babylon, and the city of the pyramids, which is the abode of Nemo. And that's in reference to the 3rd Sephirah, Binah. Finally, the benediction. May thy mind be opened unto the higher, thy heart a center of light, and thy body the temple of the rosy cross. Vale Frater. And that is in what we do, three installments of I.N.R.I, a little essay by Frater Akkad. You'll notice that sometimes I say Frater and sometimes I say Frater. Early on in my Rosicrucian days, it was pounded into my head that the pronunciation was Frater. I don't know why. I just respected the old person that told me that. Everybody else says Frater. That's okay with me. And I say Frater about half the time, Frater the other half the time. But somewhere, in some kind of British mystery show of some kind, magic mystery show of some kind, somebody handed somebody else a magical talisman or tool, and they said, "Take this, Frater. May it serve you well." And I thought that was so cool. And I said, okay, I'm going to say it's Frater all the time. Anyway, it's Friday. The weekend's ahead. Tomorrow is Saturday morning cartoons. I hope I have something to delight us both with that tomorrow. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.